Hi folks, this is Leroy Myers from Wood Rocket. If you don't know me, I made things like this. And I also make Ask a Porn Star. Since we're self-isolating right now, we thought we'd give this Zoom thing a little whirl with a Wood Rocket spin. So I spoke to a group of 6 amazing MILF porn performers. Porn stars like Cherie DeVille, Mocha Menage, Carmen Valentina, Layla Hills, Macy Cartel, and Lexi Luna. By the way, our videos are not monetized, so if you want to support us, please check out the sponsors that appear at the beginning of our videos, or you can go to the Wood Rocket Etsy shop and we can ship you adult coloring books or pins or shirts or other fun stuff. It's not expensive and we're still shipping. The link is in the description. Anyways, enjoy my chat with MILF Porn Stars. You're all known for being MILF performers or MILF models in porn or camming. Do any of you consider yourself not a MILF and you wonder why the fuck you're in the MILF category? How many of you started in porn before you were MILFs? So for the people that started pre-MILF and went into MILF, how did it feel getting booked for your first MILF scene, being told you were a MILF?
I was 26 and it was a scene with Levi Cash, and he's like, "Are you okay doing a MILF scene? I know you're kind of young." And I'm like, "I don't care." I'm like, to me, I wasn't offended. I'm like, the fans are going to love me no matter what. They don't really care what you're tagged as. So I'm like, sure. And then after that, I just slowly as I got older, I got more and more MILF bookings. But like my first one was at 26 and I started at 22. And now I'm in my 30s, but I'm like, I kind of like it. There's a big fan base for it. And, you know, there's still girls younger than me, but I'm like, I'm not really offended by it or anything. But that was like how I started into it. And then I was like, it's just another name or tag for it. So I just kept doing more and more. I'm like, screw it. I'm going to do it. I like it.
Yeah, definitely kind of piggyback off of what she said. My kid, she's pretty young. She's 2. So I actually did my first MILF scene prior to me being an actual mom. It just has to do pretty much with like the age cap, I'm thinking. I don't know. I was about 27 too. So I don't know. But I definitely started more like the teen, barely legal, and then now I'm way in the MILF category. So
I see a couple of people pointing to their boobs.
Like they think that if you have big breasts, somehow you're a MILF. That doesn't make sense to me, but large breasts and MILF seem to be almost more important than age. I don't know.
The thing I've always heard is if you have fake boobs, you're automatically in the MILF category.
But
I've always been thicker, like just curvier thicker. Like I've never had fake tits or big ones. They're just always always been thicker than most girls, like not super skinny. So I think that's maybe why I've always been like more MILFy looking too. Plus, I grew out like more of a bush, so I look more MILFy because I was like, fuck it, I'm taking advantage of it.
I definitely don't have big tits. Like, I'm probably the smallest.
How old are each of you, if you don't mind me asking?
33.
I just turned 30 in November.
34.
31.
30.
41.
Oh, you look amazing, girl.
Uh-huh.
Oh my God.
So how many of you started in your 20s?
I did.
Oh my gosh, I
did.
was 19.
Yeah,
19. Okay.
Yeah.
22.
I was 22.
Wow.
I was 26.
Do most of what you get booked for, are they mostly MILF scenes? Like, we're MILF themed?
Absolutely.
80%.
50-50.
Is it?
Everything for me.
All
Is-
no.
So let's talk about some of those scenes. And Layla, I know you do mostly cams and you do clips, so I want to talk about that perspective too. But who's had a guy that most likely is older than them playing their son or stepson? Sorry.
Yes.
The same age as me, and I had to play their mother.
Oh, man, they when your son has like just crow's feet and he's in retirement. It's crazy. It's a crazy make-believe world. And I mean, I'm gonna guess that most of you get booked for stepmother stuff now, right? That's
Absolutely.
the genre taking over. It's taken over everything. We've used the word MILF every which way we can. We've used cougar. We've used older. We've used mature. Are there any phrases, any terms you guys don't like being called in that kind of category?
Just granny porn. I'm just like.
Have you done a GILF?
Like, I hope
Yeah.
I'm wrong, but like not yet.
Not yet.
So nobody's been booked for GILF stuff yet.
Oh my gosh, no.
I'm just asking.
But I hope I'm around long enough to be booked for GILF porn, right?
How many of you prefer being labeled a MILF as opposed to, just a porn star?
I feel like it helps us stand out, especially when I first started porn. The competition in the teen and babe world is outrageous. There's tens of thousands of them, and there's like 20 of us.
Right.
So just being put into a category with less people to compete with for roles is a benefit. And, you're always going to have, like at the top of Pornhub and in people's hearts, it's like, oh, my favorite teen, my favorite babe, my favorite MILF. Well, when there's less of us, it's easier to be relevant in that category, which I think is a huge boost. Then you grow your social media easier, you get fans easier. So sometimes what might be perceived as a slightly negative or ageist hashtag can put you in a more, thinned out group of bitches, which is nice for money,
Why do you think MILFs are so popular?
Well, I think it's because a lot of guys are sometimes more attracted to people their age, and they don't want to look at someone that looks like their daughter, like an older man watching porn. It's like, oh my gosh, she looks like, the older I get, the more I see like 18, 19-year-olds, I'm like, oh my God, they look so young. And then when I was that age, I didn't think they looked that young. So I'm like, maybe that could be the reason, is they want someone, they're so attracted to people who are closer to their age than someone who's 20, 30 years younger than them. And for like the older audience, younger guys, maybe they always had a crush on someone that was always older than them. Hot Mom Next Door, like typical porn movie. So
Right. I feel like, honestly, as a young boy, I've never been a young boy, but I feel like their first love or their attraction is maybe to their mother. You get what I'm saying? So it's kind of like a correlation to, she reminds me of my mom. I know it's kind of freaky thinking, but it's just, it plays hand in hand some kind of way, and it works out. So.
It's Freudian. Carmen, getting back to what you said, I interviewed somebody for Ask a Porn Star this season that was 18. And that might be the first 18-year-old I've ever interviewed for that I really looked at and thought, oh, that's an 18-year-old. And
the older you get, they look so young. But when you were that age, you didn't think you looked that young. Oh, I look like an adult. And then when you actually get older, you're like, oh my God, I look like a fucking kid.
But I feel like our genre is really special too, because we play the older woman, but I would say I at least almost exclusively play the older woman that is in control of the sexual experience. So
absolutely.
A lot of younger people and people who are not yet confident with their sexuality to say, well, if I were with an older woman, I wouldn't have to worry about it because she would take control. She would make the first move. They're not out there with their peers as a man with the pressure to make that first move, do this. There's a lot of pressure in men in our society still. And to have that cougar swoop in, give you your sexual desires without that energy, without any shame, without any effort, I think that that's incredibly appealing to see we are almost like a role reversal. We take a masculine role in our pornography, and I think that can be I call it femdom light. It's like very appealing to
light.
We're still teaching sex. Like every role I'm doing, I'm teaching the teens about how to do certain sexual things, how to be sexually open. And I feel like that is kind of that, like I was a teacher. So for me, that role is very natural and I like it, but we're still, the MILFs are teaching sex.
Also, if I can chime in, a lot of men empower CEOs. I don't care if he's a principal or just a manager at his job. They like for women to take control at home because they are used to everyone asking them, what do I do next, boss? Or tell me what to do. So when they get home, it's kind of like, you tell me what to do. They like that. They just do.
Layla, when you do camming, you do a lot of camming. When you get guys hitting you up for the mommy role, Do you do mommy role play?
I do. I'm definitely more submissive. I don't really have dominance in me. But usually it's the guys who are wanting to take advantage of their mom. I get about 10 to 15 requests a day to play mom for them.
So what are some of the, like when you say that, can you describe like a situation where they ask you to play mom?
Most of the time I'm laying down and they've caught me masturbating, or they want me to pretend I'm cooking in the kitchen was one show, and they come up behind me and take full advantage of me. So it's just taking advantage of their mom in the most intimate, non-conformal settings.
So it's mostly dominant roles they're asking you to do, like if a fan reaches out, or is that a studio idea?
For me it is, but I think that goes both ways. Because the studios have had me doing that role for 10 years, they've built a fan base for me that I'm now utilizing. So they've had me play I'm submissive in real life, but they've had me play that typical porno MILF role so much that the people who like that role were drawn to me in their work. Then the age of content creation came about, and that was my pre-existing fan base. So you're right, one thing might just be feeding into the other. The mainstream porn may have built a fan base of subs for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I have a lot of guys who are willing to teach me to be dominant, so I can be their mom.
That's sexy.
Tell me the milfiest role you've ever played, something that defines milfdom for you. It could be stepmom, it could be just a MILF thing, it could be teacher, it could be whatever. Tell me about that scene or that show or that cam session or clip.
I have a sort of a subgenre in mind. Like, I think that my most mommiest mom roles were for a website called Mommy's Girl. It was like a Gamma Girls Way website. And even though I can't particularly pinpoint a scene, they were so into that mommy talk. Just, you know, even though they had the stepmom thing going on, they would definitely, you know, tell you that we do step because of legalities. These fans have a legitimate mommy fetish. And so we would, as the MILF, talk to our co-stars almost as if they were children, you know, pet names and my good girl and my sweet little bunny rabbit, and, you know, all of those things, you know, alluding to long-time historical events like, oh, I used to change your nappies or whatever. Do you know what I mean? Like, so I'd say that was my most like full-on motherly role, even though
How did you feel about that? Were you?
I was gonna say that's deep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe because I'm not a mom, it doesn't affect me that much. And I just feel like I've played serial killers in porn. I've played crazy people. I've played kind people. I've played, you know, whatever my role is, I'm just like, all right, I'm a superhero today. Let's do this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Who else has a very MILFy role they've played?
Well, here I live in Florida, and there's so much fetish here, and some of the stuff is not even sex. It's just talking to the camera, like you're in love with your son or whatever. And like I was talking to another model who does a lot of like sessions, like with guys who have the mommy fetish, and she was telling me stories about how a lot of them sometimes, this is like the ones that are really into the fetish, they have like back in their past they usually had like mommy issues, like neglectful mother, or was mean, and so they look for a mother who's like dominant, but also who wants to like fuck you, because that's like the only way they like understand love. So it's really weird. She was telling me all about this, and so a lot of them, they want to find that love in a loving figure that's like their mother, because they never got it in real life. So then when they want to fantasize about fucking their mother, it's usually because they've been like neglected, and that's the only way they like know how to understand what love is and how they get it from their mom that they always desired and wished. I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, that's so depressing. When she was telling me that, I'm like, it makes a lot of sense sometimes. Like, I've done some really like mommy fetish, like where it's like, oh my God, I'm disturbed right now. And then I've had like guys in my DMs are like, can I call you mommy and stuff like that? I'm like, oh sure, honey buns. So I've been doing like a lot of those fetish ones, and those are like, okay, it doesn't always have to include sex for it to be like, oh wow.
I mean, the mommy thing, it doesn't bother me at all because it's like, it's too, the couple of times that I've done like a lot of like mommy stuff, the male in the video was actually my husband. So I was trying not to laugh the whole time because I'm like, oh yeah, call me mommy one more time. Ooh, yeah. But like as opposed to like the daddy stuff, because I have daughters, I don't like the daddy stuff. I don't like the daddy daughter anything. I think it's disgusting, but I mean, to each their own. I could do the mommy stuff all day. I don't know like what ticks differently, but I feel like a mommy to a son is like a little bit different. Like, I don't know.
You use the word mommy or stepmommy?
I use both. Like I have guys that like, cause I do a lot of femdom stuff too. So I have guys that'll call me mommy, but a lot of the videos, because of like clips for sale and stuff, it has to be stepmommy or stepmother or something like that.
That's a rule, right? On all the clip stores, you just can't.
Yeah, it has to be step. It can't have any like actual biological relation. Like even step brother, step sister, like step cousin. It has to say step in front of like everything.
Yeah, I'll do custom videos with mommy, but I can't post them anywhere else.
Videos, and I've still done the mommy ones, but they just label it step mommy. But then when you're just like, I'm your mommy. You never say step.
Yeah.
You guys already know that. It's just for like the credit card companies.
Yeah, as long as like the title says, stepmommy. I mean, I usually I do a lot of like diaper fetish videos, which is like the old, like the men that like to be in the diapers and like you have to change them and like care for them and stuff. So, and I use mommy in that.
Yeah.
What?
Adult baby diaper lovers.
Love it.
Is that the full name?
ABDL. Yeah.
Describe to me an adult baby diaper lover scene.
So one of them, like I've most of mine are POV. So I set the camera up and then like I have like the diaper and stuff like in front of it. So like, I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, okay, let me, change the diaper. And like, they can see my hands moving as if like I'm changing them and like wiping them with the wet wipes and like all the, mommy stuff that I've done in my past because I have children. And then like you just kind of like hold them and like cradle them. I think it's like a nurture, like it's like a nurture fetish almost. Like they want to be like held. So you're like, oh, do you like it when I, change your diaper? I had a custom for it the first time and I'm like, okay, this is a little odd, but we'll do it. And I put it up on my store and it was like one of my top 5 sellers for like that week. Like it sold so many times and I'm like, I can change diapers all day. I've already done it.
Are your hands off the screen pretending to change the diaper?
Yes. So I'm like sitting there like this and I'm like, okay, yes, let me, undo your diaper. And then I take like a real wipe and I'll be like, oh, okay, like this. And I'll do, like the motions and they love it. So I do a lot of like POV tickles too. Cause I'm known in like the fetish for my long nails. So people like it when like I POV tickle them. So I'm literally just sitting there in front of the camera like coochie 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 coo for 10 minutes.
I've done a hair job where I take my hair and I wrap it around a dildo and I stroke it up and down and then I take makeup brushes and I'll coochie coochie coo with the makeup brushes on the dildo.
So is the dick fully on? Like, is the dildo on completely in the shot, or do you have
the dildo is on the table, and I'm like wrapping my hair around it and getting this giant like crow's nest of hair, stroking it nice and long, and it's like coming in my hair. And then the second part of it is always taking makeup brushes in particular and tickling the dick and saying coochie coochie coo.
You have to say coochie coochie coo.
Yeah, that's the phrase. Yeah.
Is that part of tickle?
Yes, it's tickle talk. They like, oh, tickle tickle. They like it like when I play like tickle. This little piggy went to the market, and I have to go through the whole thing, and like the last one is like, and they cried wee 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 all the way home, and you have to like tickle. That's their favorite.
So wait, but the hair thing, is that tickle also, or is that?
I can tickle. I've like tickled with hair too.
Yeah, it's not necessarily tickle. It's more the like the softness and the airiness of hair, which is similar to tickling them with the brush, I think.
I did do once where I had to tickle the penis and balls, like tickle, 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 and they're like, and then they just slowly get a hard on. I'm like, okay.
To be fair, it seems safer than ball busting.
For sure.
I've done it. But
Who's done ball busting? You love ball busting.
I love
Those
it.
are fun when you actually get to do it.
So
You're like,
fun.
oh my god, that's horrible when you watch the video, and then when you're doing it, like, yes.
Mhm.
Well, okay, so the first time I ever did like any femdom stuff, it was in 2012 for Club Dom, and they hire the slave guys to come in, and it was a caning video. So this guy is probably like 65 years old, and they put him in like a little strap on, so he's like ass up in this thing, and they hand me a sugar cane, and I'm like, the fuck do I do with this? And they're like, you're gonna hit him with it, and I'm like, I can't. And they yelled action, and I would go whack, like it was like the Satan came out, and I'm like, oh yeah. But then like when we were done with it, I was like, oh my god, are you okay? And he goes, it was amazing. And I'm like, okay, I have mommy issues, but like that one takes the cake.
I don't like doing the spanking fetish unless I have a dick in me.
It's mostly like mommy themed, right? When you're doing
For
the spanking.
Oh yeah.
For sure.
Or maybe femdom, but
Or femdom. I do a lot of like femdom with like the little Twinkie slave, like the slaves. I do that. A lot of that.
I do a lot of over the knee spanking, which is very like bad boy in school spanking.
I haven't done that spanking other girls though.
How many of you will never do a guilt scene? Grandma, I'd like to fuck scene, essentially. How many would never, if they got booked for one after all this is said and done, if somebody said to you, hey, I want to book you for this guilt scene, how many
at
of
a
you
certain
would take
age.
I would say,
Like right now, you got me.
Like right now, no, I'm 31.
I would totally do it because I'd be like, if the fans like me, they like me. I don't care what they label me as on like all the tags and stuff online. I'm like, well, I'll do it. I don't care.
Carmen will put gray highlights in her hair.
I won't do that. I will put
She
a
commits.
girl's wig on and get fucked.
thank you all for opening up and being honest and sharing with the audience and sharing with me and teaching me about baby diaper mans.
DL, adult baby diaper lovers.
That is something I'm gonna look into too.
But we're going to put up all your links so fans can catch you all. But thank you all very much and have a happy self-isolation.
Oh,
Thank you.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.